So, Danny, why do moms put themselves last?
I don't know, but we're going to talk about it.
Hey, Mama, I'm Cindy,
And I'm Danny.
and welcome to
Color Me Mom.
Thank you for joining us for part 2 of why mamas often put themselves last. We're going to jump right in where we left off. We were talking about balance.
Many moms are stretched thin because they don't have enough help or haven't been taught to set boundaries with their kids, partners, or even themselves.
I have a really funny anecdote about that, which you probably don't even know. Jason, Cindy's husband, he actually gave me a book after I told him, like, he was like, "Hey, Danny, how's it going? How's your week?" And I said, "Well, I had this on Monday, I had this on Tuesday," I had that. And I'm like just going through everything. He looked at me and he goes, "I'm tired just listening to what your week was like." And so the following week, he gave me a book titled Boundaries.
Wow.
He
Isn't
did,
that
yeah.
something? I didn't get that book. No lie. When the kids say no cap, I'm almost jealous. No, but what I will say is that my husband is by no means perfect, but he's a good man, Savannah. He really does help me. He does help me a lot, and if it wasn't for him, I would not be sane, to be honest with you at this point. And I know I make fun of a lot of stuff, but Jason does cook. He's not gonna wash a dish, and you do not want to see the kitchen after he cooked. But we ain't gonna go hungry, right? And I'll just wake up peed off the next morning looking at the kitchen because I got so depressed looking at it after I ate.
There'll be times where me and Cindy are sitting down on the couch, and because he is so he loves like serving Cindy and like making sure she has what she needs and stuff. I'm used to always doing things for myself. Like
and you're a server too, though.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and I also I love yeah. Jason and I were like, Cindy, what do you need? but so there'll be times where I'll come in and I have the kids and he'll be like, "Hey, Danny, go sit down with Cindy. You girls, sit down. What do you guys want to watch on TV?" So he'll set everything up for us and he'll be like, "Do you guys want the fireplace on or off? You guys good?" And then we'll just sit there, talking and chatting and this and that. And he'll bring both of us a plate of food, and then he'll bring both of us like a cup of water or something, and he'll be, "Do you guys need napkins? You guys are good? How does it taste? Does it need more salt, more?" And so he's very helpful. Like I have seen like just how you and Jason's dynamic works, and even when my family has come to visit, it's like we all have the same consensus. Me, my sister, my cousins, my mom, we're all like, "We love Cindy and Jason," like all of us.
Well, I will say that I have been blessed, in that area. I do say, I'm not perfect. Jason is not perfect, but I do feel supported. Yeah. Like that is not a reason why I would put myself last, because it's not necessarily a thing. But I will say this: there are some other things. Like I would kick my kids out of my room in a heartbeat. Like no, ma'am, no sir. Go in the loft area. You may not sit in my room and listen to your iPad right beside me and want to turn it up to 30 when I'm listening to my phone. Okay? Get out.
See, and that's again where we differ, because with my kids, like my kids will come to my room, and even when I have your kids, like they'll like it's like all of them, they congregate and I'm just laying down in bed and they're like, "Miss Danny, so what's going on?" And my daughter will be like, "Yeah, mommy, so what are we gonna do today?" And and I'm different. I think our love languages are different. Mm-hmm. So if they want to come and smother and
you love the cuddling,
yes,
and all of that stuff, Jack, get back. Okay, here, get back.
But I would say like the support like that I have with you and with Jason is like it's extremely helpful. Mm-hmm. Like today, for instance, I needed help with dropping my son off at summer camp, because every Tuesdays we have meetings at my job. During the time I was supposed to drop him off, I called Cindy. I said, "Hey Cindy, hey, can you pick up Keanu, drop him off really quickly?" And she was able to do that. Yeah. So thankfully, I have that support in Cindy. And what I can say is that for a very long time, I felt like I had to carry this myself, and that if I didn't, if I were to ask for help or anything like that, I almost felt ashamed.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. And I will say though, Danny, it's mutual. So, even though she said all those wonderful things about me or whatever, she really helps me just as much. And even our age difference, I think that adds so much to my motherhood journey. She's able to connect with my 14-year-old on a different level than me, and who I really feel like has came from Pluto. Okay. And it's so because I'm well in age, maybe I've forgotten what that is like. But in addition, she's going to be my plant sitter.
That's
We're
right.
going on vacation.
I'm watching all her babies.
Yeah, she's going to be watching my babies. So again, I think, as we continue to make content and do this, I think one of the things that we wanted to highlight more than anything else, we got a lot of different goals, but more than anything else is for moms to surround themselves with a support system, because both of us kind of live, especially when my bestie left.
I didn't leave. I'm right here.
That's my other bestie.
She had a bestie before me.
They fight,
but we actually do get along. But we joke around like no, Cindy's mine.
But yeah, so it was like we kind of was lonely and didn't know what we were missing until our girls brought us together. And we still have to tell that story, but not in this video. So,
another day.
Another day. All right, so let's move on to our last one, which is survival mode. Especially for moms in under-resourced communities or single moms, it's not always a choice. It's survival. Self-care feels like a luxury. And that's the part that I hate. That if it feels like a luxury, because every mom deserves to do something that makes them feel good, makes them happy, and to create space between them and their families, right? And I think we also have to normalize that not being a bad thing. Like, it is okay to get away. It is okay. I'm not a drinker, but if you want to go to the local bar and have yourself a sip of wine or whatever, like, you deserve that. And you shouldn't feel guilty or shame about doing that. And so what I would say for moms who are in that survival mode, I always think there is a way. It may not be a perfect situation, but I do think there are things that you can do to create some type of self-care moment, even if it's going for a walk, even if it's just getting up, closing your room door and saying, hey, no, mommy needs 15 minutes, mommy needs 20 minutes, whatever that looks like. You have to fight for that.
Yeah, and that's something that I am learning to kind of do for myself, because I'm definitely in survival mode. And I mean, I feel like since I had my son, like, I have been in survival mode, because I always thought, like I said, just kind of like what I grew up seeing, grandmothers coming to this country having absolutely nothing and having to be in survival mode. My mom also, like, looking at the women in my family, my mom also coming to this country and once again being in survival mode. That's what I've seen. I've seen both my grandmothers, do that. I have seen my mom do that. And then now it's almost like the torch has been passed down to me. And, this is something that I kind of, realized after I had my daughter, which is, I was doing all these self-sacrificing things when I had my son. 6 years later, I had my daughter. And when I had her, it was, I don't know, it was different when I had a daughter, because all I thought to myself was, she's going to look at me and think, this is my mom. And one of two things is going to happen. I want to be just like her, or I want to be nothing like her. And that's something, whether she thinks it outright or whether it's in her subconscious, it's something that she will think of. And so when I had a daughter, that is truly when I started doing, when I say little things, I mean like minuscule things for myself, getting a haircut every 6 months, painting my own nails, like just a little thing, or even, getting a smoothie or some, like just the smallest little thing for myself. And sometimes she would even be with me when I would be doing these things for myself. Sometimes I would be in, you know, in the hairdresser's chair nursing her while I'm getting my haircut, and she would, you know, she would see that. But definitely having a daughter changed my perspective, because
Wow.
that, I'm telling you, I just thought my grandmother a survivor, both my grandmothers survivors, my mother survivor, me survivor. And I just looked at my daughter, and when I had her, all I thought was, I don't want you to have to survive. I want you to enjoy.
Wow. Yes. You know what? I did not want to interrupt you, but before you made that point, that is the light bulb that went off in my head as she was talking, is that the fact that our kids are watching us. And if we don't like how we feel in this journey, that's the example that they are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, if you're having a hard time putting yourself first, ask yourself, do I want my own girl child or even male child to experience a parental journey that looks like mine?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then you have to fight for what that balance looks like for you. And again, it's going to be different for all of us, right? Yeah. But I think the thing is having perspective for your situation and giving yourself enough grace, right? Giving yourself enough grace to be able to not only know, but to put action to being able to create space for you, so that you can be your best physically, your best mentally, your best emotionally for your child.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please add to the conversation by commenting below.